Welcome to Random Review Fridays, a segment on this channel where we pick 2 or 3 movies that may or may not have something in common. And all the movies we chose today do have something in common because they are the Dark Knight Trilogy. A very beloved trilogy by many. And I have with me an expert in Batman.
Kind of.
Good friend Adam.
What's up, guys?
So let's start first with Christopher Nolan's, I consider it a masterpiece, Batman Begins.
Okay.
What is Batman Begins about? What would you like me to talk about?
Batman Begins is basically another origin story, but it's different from your average Batman movie because it took like a lot of the comic book elements out of it and made it more gritty. This is like the first true gritty Batman movie, in that it made it kind of like he was kind of like a cop that just happened to like striking fear in the hearts of villains. You know, you see of course the formulaic him seeing his parents' tragic murder, and then he goes on to figure out that he wants to go train, so he trains with the League of is it the Shadows or Assassins?
League of Shadows.
League of Shadows in this. They find out Liam Neeson's in it. He trains under Liam Neeson / Ra's al Ghul.
Yeah, first his name is Ducard.
Yeah, and the big twist at the end we find out he's Ra's al
Spoilers
Ghul. Yeah, fucking 12-year-old movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, so whatever. And then he saves the city from the crazy eco terrorist that is Ra's al Ghul. It's a As far as Batman movies are concerned, it's pretty damn good. It's a really good, decent movie. It's very underrated because everybody compares it to The Dark Knight, but it's a really good the crime cop movie. Just happens to have Batman in it.
This movie came at a good time. It came right at a time where superhero movies were pretty much they were dead.
Yeah.
And the only other thing we had was, I believe, X-Men and Spider-Man.
Yeah.
But
those were constant,
Yeah. But DC was pretty much it was non-existent because after the abysmal Batman and Robin, Batman was not considered a franchise that could be gambled with anymore.
Yeah, no.
But Christopher Nolan brought a good vision to this Batman, because before Batman Begins, at least not in the big screen, we didn't have an origin story. I mean, we had it with Batman Mask of the Phantasm, which was a theatrical release, but it was an animated film, which was very close to the animated series.
Yeah.
But we didn't have an actual feature-length film where they explain the origins of Batman. Because if you look at Tim Burton's Batman, he's already Batman. He's doing his thing.
Yeah.
And one can argue that before Batman Begins, Tim Burton's Batman was considered the most darkest.
Yeah, it was. It was considered gritty at the time, but
Yeah.
now we know it's campy as hell.
It's campy as hell, yeah.
Yeah.
This film, when I first saw it, I think it came out in 2005.
Something like that.
And I remember seeing it in the theater. I thought, because I had not seen the trailers, I avoided the trailers, and I didn't read too much on it. I thought it was actually going to be a prequel to Tim Burton's Batman. That's why I'm mentioning the Tim Burton's Batman. I thought it was going to be a prequel. But when I saw it, I was like, oh, this is just a completely new take. And I was blown away. And this film is literally responsible for pretty much every freaking reboot that we have until now. Right after this, the James Bond franchise was rebooted with Casino Royale. We had so many countless superhero films and remakes and reboots that to this day are still being made.
I mean, I don't think it jumpstarted the whole superhero craze, because I think the Dark Knight did.
The Dark Knight did.
The Dark Knight did, but this launched reboots and made Batman profitable again and made people take more risks, I think. But otherwise, the Dark Knight, its sequel, obviously is what really pushed superhero movies over the edge, because it was one of the first superhero movies that made $1 billion, right?
I believe so.
Yeah.
I believe so. But this film was also highly successful. Successful. And I think in retrospect, a lot of people talk about it more now that it's a complete trilogy.
Yeah.
Before, when people went to go see The Dark Knight, they didn't even know that there was
exactly, because it was completely
overshadowed by it. Yeah. Let's talk about the actor who plays Batman, Christian Bale, who at the time wasn't as known as today. Aside from American Psycho, he had done other films, but he wasn't the prolific actor that he is today.
Mm-hmm.
Personally, I liked his portrayal of both Bruce Wayne and Batman. An exception, of course, of the voice, which becomes
worse throughout the series.
Yeah, it becomes for some reason it becomes more.
Despite the fact that everybody mocked him in The Dark Knight, he's like, let's just keep going in Dark Knight Rises for some odd reason.
For some odd reason, yeah. but
it's not quite as bad here.
No, it's not.
It's
just deep, which is, it should have left it like that.
Exactly, I agree.
I liked Bale as Batman. He's in comparison to the other Bruce Wayne Batmans that we've had in the past. He's the one that I actually believe as a guy who is basically a ninja. He trained with Ra's al Ghul. I think it's pronounced.
Well, according to the animated series, which is my holy Bible, I call it it's Raish.
Raish,
yeah. But they pronounce it Ra's in the movie.
I think Ra's al Ghul never trained Batman.
I don't believe so.
It's just in this universe.
Yeah, it's only in that universe.
Yeah, I like Liam Neeson. Like the twist, which is not really much of a twist, is that he is not Ducard. He's Ra's al Ghul.
Yeah.
There's a part where he reveals himself and he's saying, "No, it's just cheap parlor tricks to conceal your true identity, Ross." Yeah. But it's not a big twist. It's just a reveal.
Like, ooh,
yeah. Aside from that, I think it's aged well. I like it. It's there's certain CGI elements in the film, like towards the end with the train that looks a little kind of clunky by today's standards, but aside from that, it's
totally watchable.
It's totally watchable, yeah. Mm-hmm. The only other complaint that I have, which is it gets better with each of the sequels, is the fighting technique. Not so much the fighting technique, but the editing style that they use. Whenever Batman is fighting, this is a technique that's been used in other films, like Taken and stuff, where someone's punching, and right before the punch reaches the person, they quickly edit to the other person, but it's such a hyper edit to the point where you can't see anything. It's just to make people who don't know how to fight look as if they fight.
Yeah.
And since it happens so quickly, your mind...
Yeah, you don't notice it.
Yeah, you don't,
register
really,
it.
Exactly. So that's my biggest complaint, but aside of the story is great. The whole story of, the motives for Bruce going to another country for 7 years.
Yeah.
You actually believe of him as someone who's in deep pain for the loss of his parents.
Yeah.
Coming back to Gotham to change Gotham, using himself as a symbol to rid Gotham of crime, and then having, which is good timing when you come to think of it. Like, had he not trained and done everything that he did in his disposal, these people, the League of Shadows, would have come and rid Gotham of,
convenient timing, I think is what you're looking for.
Yeah, convenient timing, yeah. That's what I'm saying, yeah. So, it's aged well, it's entertaining.
Totally.
The other thing I didn't like, I don't care too much for Katie Holmes.
Well, I mean, I prefer her over Maggie Gyllenhaal.
I think they're both, like, they're just not that interesting.
I mean, the character overall is forgettable.
Yeah, so. Like, for that character to be, like, the most... The love of Bruce's life.
Yeah,
like,
Bruce obsesses over and shit.
Yeah, he's like literally spends like in the which we'll talk about later in Dark Knight Rises. He spends like
8 years,
fucking years over some dumb bitch. I mean, like
I mean, like she's boring. I mean, she's forgettable.
Yeah, he was never really with her.
Nah. I mean, when you love somebody, you love somebody.
So Batman Begins, I'm pretty sure everyone has seen it by now. I did a review of it a long time ago on my channel. And I still think it's great. Definitely worth owning on Blu-ray. Having this like little special edition.
We did forget to mention, and a lot of people do forget to mention Cillian Murphy or Killian Murphy, however you pronounce it.
Killian Murphy.
Yeah.
Yes, Killian Murphy.
Nobody really gives him praise. He's really good in that movie.
Yeah, he is.
He's really good. Like I remember there's a moment where Bats is like flooding all around them, and he's like freaking out, but he's loving it at the same time. I'm like, that's
change your own medicine, doctor.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Like he's just like looking around because he's terrified, but he's loving the fact that he's scared.
Yeah, well,
like,
I mean, I'd be shitting my pants if I see a Batman that's drooling like all this black blood, and he's like.
No. But it's just like it's subtle because he's terrified, but he's also loving the fact that he's terrified.
Yeah.
And that's what I expect from Crane.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's not mentioned much, and he's actually the only character that appears in all three films. Yeah.
And he has such an understated performance. Nobody gives him credit for that. Everybody's like Liam Neeson, which who's amazing in the movie, but Cillian Murphy's also really good, but nobody gives him credit for it. I think it's worth giving him credit. But it's definitely watchable. Very, very, still a very good movie to this day and age. But again, completely overshadowed by The Dark Knight because everybody considers it the greatest superhero movie of all time.
So now we're going until the sequel to Batman Begins, the one that
everybody loves,
and everyone has seen, I think. So we can talk about spoilers because this is going to be a spoiler-filled review. I mean,
yeah.
Who hasn't seen this movie?
Exactly.
Yeah, it's like
like
what's the Dark Knight?
It's pretty old movie.
So of course we're talking about the Dark Knight.
Yeah.
Which I think it's very appropriate to put the Joker in the cover because this is really much Joker's movie.
Yeah. Oh fuck yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's okay. Well, the movie takes place about a year or so after Batman Begins. He's more seasoned than he was in Part 1, and now he's like, I need a new suit. And then my voice, I smoked too much cigarettes on the way because now my voice is way deeper apparently.
I'm not worried.
But either way, like it's just like a year or so after the events of Batman Begins, and he's basically on his normal crime fighting routine. However. And in the middle of it, he's also endorsing a new DA or new DA to be Harvey Dent, and then out of nowhere, the Joker comes along, who is fucking insane and is ready to fuck shit up, and he does, you know. That as good a synopsis as I can do right now.
Yeah, no.
He yells "fuck you," and that's how the movie ends. But what did you think of The Dark Knight?
Funny thing, when I first saw this movie, believe it or not, I didn't like it as much as Batman Begins.
I don't believe you.
Yeah, this is true. This is true. When I first saw it, I liked the movie, but I think at the time this movie everyone was just talking about Heath Ledger's performance, which
the hype was insane.
It was, and I to this day I still think had Heath Ledger not passed away, the movie would have gotten immense recognition, but not the recognition that it has to this point.
You think?
I think so.
I don't know, man.
I love the movie.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. He was gonna start like, tell me all shit. Fuck you, movie master. You hate the fucking Dark Knight Trilogy. Like no.
Like that, right?
Yeah, and then caps lock.
Caps lock, exclamation points and ones.
Yes. Yeah. They start typing really fast. Fuck you, movie master.
You can't talk shit about The Dark Knight.
Yeah.
It's a cinematic masterpiece, the most beloved superhero movie.
Yeah, I think it's number 4 or number 5 on IMDb's top 250 list.
Mm-hmm.
Like I think this is to call this a comic book movie. It's not really a comic book movie, even though it's based on the comics.
Yeah. This
is a crime film.
Yeah, just like Batman Begins was.
Yes, very much so, and this is like the realistic point of view of Batman in the real world. Mm-hmm. And you were mentioning that in this one he needs a new suit. I think it's because he needs to like
turn his neck, but because he can in the old suit.
Yeah, and in this one I think it makes him a little bit more vulnerable to knives and bullets.
Yeah, like he wanted something more lightweight. I believe he said he wanted something more lightweight and allowed him to move more freely. So he has like segmented pieces of armor, but like he was more vulnerable in certain parts of his body.
Yeah. Even though this is called The Dark Knight, Batman is heavily sidelined by the performance of Heath Ledger as the Joker, which it's to this day, even though we already have a new Joker, Jared Leto, playing, I still think, regardless of who comes along, I think this will always be remembered as the quintessential Joker. Yeah, I think each actor has brought something new to the Joker.
Yeah.
But his Joker is something that everyone remembers. Everyone remembers the lines like, "Oh, you want to know how I got these scars?" Or
it's not about the money; it's about sending a message.
Yeah, it's like, or it's like, you know what they have in common? They're cheap. You know, when he's talking about dynamite, it's like, I'm a man of simple taste.
And then the
like
pencil,
gunpowder, dynamite, gasoline.
The disappearing pencil trick.
Oh, I'm gonna make this pencil disappear.
Yeah. You make him sound like Woody Allen, dude.
Oh, well, I can't do the Joker. I mean, I can do Mark Hamill's Joker.
Yeah. Which is the greatest Joker of all time.
The Joker here!
And, I will fight you about that. But continue. Okay, because it's a good movie. It really is. It's one of the best Batman movies ever. That is fact. But, like, the hype isn't necessarily worth it because really what pushes it over the edge, what makes it one of the most amazing movies of all time is because of Heath Ledger's Joker. That's it. That's fact for me. The movie without Heath Ledger, it's a good movie. It's just like Batman Begins, maybe a little bit better, in my opinion, but like it's really the Joker's performance that really makes it as good as it is. It's what really like pushes it up to being a stellar movie.
Yes, definitely. The plot of the film is grounded in reality, just like Batman Begins. And that's the only reason, like, when I came out of the movie theater, everyone was, before I watched the movie, I was saying, like, oh, this is, like, 20 times better than Batman Begins. And I remember I did a video a few years back talking about Batman Begins and The Dark Knight.
Yeah.
And I mentioned that I think they're both equally as good. They're just, I don't think one is better than the other.
How much shit did you get?
Oh, so this day I still get comments on that.
Seriously?
Yeah. Some people disagreeing with me, some people agreeing with me. I've gotten personal messages saying, like, fuck you, movie master, you know what the fuck you're talking about.
I'm gonna murder your whole family for talking shit about a Batman movie.
Exactly. So, the thing is that the only reason The Dark Knight exceeds Batman Begins is on the performance of
Heath Ledger. It really is. Just because
but the story-wise, they're both on
decent,
par. Yeah. It's a great follow-up. Again, I'm not criticizing this movie. Don't start like typing and going crazy.
So scared.
Fuck, you know. I'm not scared.
Okay. It's okay, movie master.
Yeah, they don't know where the fuck I live.
They're not gonna hurt you.
I'm not gonna do like Iron Man, where I think in Iron Man 3 he gives his whole address.
Yeah, his whole address.
He's like, I live in blah blah blah, so you can go find me. You know?
I mean, really, honestly, the best you're gonna get is like people vehemently, like furiously typing, breathing on.
Yeah.
That's it. That's all you're gonna get.
Yeah.
So chill. You're fine.
Yeah. No, again, I love this movie. I think it's a great
movie.
comic book film, even though it's more of a crime film. We were mentioning before about Katie Holmes.
Yeah.
Didn't return for this film. I don't remember what the reasons were.
I don't fucking remember.
I don't remember.
I mean, again, forgettable character. No one cares. So.
But again, this is the big love of Bruce's life.
Yeah.
You know, he's willing to give up the mantle as Batman.
For 8 years.
Yeah, in the sequel, The Dark Knight Rises. The other thing that I really liked about the film is the action sequences in this one were better than Batman Begins. That one thing that I'll praise. It got better. In the beginning of the film, where Cillian Murphy playing Scarecrow comes in and says, well, if you he's selling his drugs to the mob bosses.
In the parking garage.
The parking garage.
Okay.
It's like remember that guy goes, look what your drug does to my customers.
I barely remember.
Remember that part? Well, Cillian Murphy's like pretty much saying like, if you don't want to buy from me, buy from someone else. If it is at Batman, have anybody else to buy from.
Okay.
So, Batman, a few fake Batmans appear.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah, and then Batman starts fight. The real Batman comes in and starts fighting everybody else. That sequence alone, that fighting sequence was actually a lot more better executed than Batman Begins. Batman Begins, it was choppily edited.
Yeah.
So that was a big improvement. But story-wise, I think they're on par, both Batman Begins and The Dark Knight.
I think there's a little bit more to Dark Knight. It's a little bit deeper. It explores different themes and because the whole one bad day can push anybody over the edge, turning the White Knight into the Dark Knight, the Harvey Dent. I thought again.
Yeah, that was good.
Yeah, that's comic booky though. Those themes are very comic booky, and I think that's why people like that movie as much as they do, aside from Heath Ledger.
Yeah, the one thing that people don't mention a lot about is that there's more involvement with the mob in this film.
Yeah.
Big chunk of the movie is the
Joker,
mob.
Yeah, Joker fucking with the mob.
Yeah, like he doesn't care about money. He doesn't care about anything. He just wants to like a message. Yeah. It's like all you guys care about is money.
Yeah.
So,
Also, who's also underrated is Aaron Eckhart as Harvey Dent. He's also very good.
He's very good, yeah.
Not as good as Cillian Murphy, but still very, very good. But
Cillian Murphy only has a very small sequence in this film,
Yeah,
which is the scene in the garage, which we just mentioned. But I do like that he appears again. So we do know that he didn't die in Batman Begins, where he gets tasered by Katie Holmes. He just runs off.
Maggie Gyllenhaal is decent in the movie. Again, the character is just completely forgettable.
It is. It's just a character that I just do not care about the character. And I do think both actresses have been in better films.
Yeah.
And again, I'm not criticizing the movies. I'm criticizing the characters of the films and not the actresses.
He's so scared, guys.
I'm telling you.
Take it easy on him.
No. The thing is that people literally swear by this film. There's like
they do.
Yeah, they do. Like so, again. We're not criticizing. We love.
It's a great movie.
It's a great movie.
I mean, and he is the best live action Joker around, but I still think Mark Hamill's the greatest Joker ever. So I need that to be known here.
Anyway, guys, that's our thoughts on The Dark Knight. A great movie, a great follow up to Batman Begins, and I think this is a movie that will be remembered for many, many, many years to come. So now we're going into the shit stain of the trilogy, The Dark Knight Rises. Oh God, this movie.
It wasn't that bad. It
it's
just
not bad.
Wasn't that good.
Yes, yeah.
Can you want to synopsize it?
Well, yeah, of course. The Dark Knight Rises takes place 8 years after The Dark Knight. Bruce Wayne has hung up his Cape and Cal as Batman. So he's just living a very isolated life, like a hermit, you know.
I mean, we've been referring to it for the past 2 reviews. Is he fucking gives up for 8 years because Maggie Gyllenhaal dies.
Yeah, like the whole... I still don't get it. She's the most boring character. He was literally in the friend zone for 2 fucking movies.
Yeah.
He was in the friend zone, and he's like crying, but Alfred, I loved her. I don't want to be Batman anymore. Well, he doesn't say that, but...
Well, yeah, 8 years, his knee's fucked up. He's like, I'm a miserable little fucking miser. Catwoman house is my shit, and I need to go find her.
Yeah. Well, here it's... we have a new character, Bane.
Yeah.
Who... Spoilers, if you haven't seen this movie's been out for like more than 4 or 5 years.
4 years.
4 years. The League of Shadows is returning to finish Ra's al Ghul's work. Mainly Talia al Ghul. Mm-hmm. She's like the head of the League of Shadows now. And they had excommunicated Bane at one point for being too extreme. And for a large portion of this film, you think Bane is the main antagonist. Yeah. Find out it's Talia.
But he terrorizes the entire city and lets loose inmates in Blackgate, I believe.
Yes, which were in prison because of the Dent Act.
Yeah.
And then we find out that Commissioner Gordon, very conveniently again, he was going to read a letter explaining that Harvey Dent is not what everyone thinks. And he saves that letter in his pocket. And that letter is later found by Bane.
Who reads it out loud in the football stadium.
No, he reads it...
No, it was outside of the prison, my bad.
Outside of the prison.
Right outside he gets out of prison.
Yeah, that's when he says, Gotham is yours, you can do as you please.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the next fucking half hour is really bad.
The movie is it's extremely well shot. You have a great director of photography, which I think is the same director of photography for the first 2 films.
Tom Hardy's the shit.
Tom Hardy's great as Bane.
Yeah.
Christian Bale's still good as Batman, even though his voice is getting
more gravelly. He smokes more cigars.
Where's the tree?
Yeah, he's unintelligible in this movie.
No, you can argue that he hasn't been Batman for a while.
His voice is gravelly. More so.
Yeah, he's probably been smoking more cigarettes or something. But the biggest complaint about this film is that it has so many plot holes. Yeah. To the point that you can drive a fucking bus through it, and there's a bus in this movie.
Spaceship.
Yeah. The one main plot hole is that everyone talks about it. Everyone is how the fuck did Bruce Wayne, Batman, get from,
buttfuck New Jersey.
Yeah, all the way back to Gotham.
Yeah.
And Gotham was completely closed off,
And he had no money, he had no Alfred, he had nothing.
He had nothing.
But he made it back to Gotham.
The only explanation is, I'm Batman. Yeah. Yeah, like the only way I can think of is maybe, since he was away from the world in Batman Begins for 7 years, maybe he has some resources, some friends he owed debts to or something.
But they never explained it.
They never explained it, so it's left very, very open.
To interpretation.
But what bothers me even more than that is the last couple of seconds he has left in the cockpit to escape from the Batplane.
Yeah.
Like, how many times? 2 seconds from a freaking atom bomb. How the hell?
How in 2 seconds? How do you manage to get away from the city so that it doesn't get hit by the shockwave or something?
Yeah,
it's impossible.
It has a very convenient ending too, where I still think many will disagree, but I think Batman did die. Alfred hallucinated. He did not see. It's just so convenient that he actually goes to the same cafe that he told him the story about. It's like, oh, I imagine you, sir. One day I'll be seeing you with a couple of kids, and I'll be sitting. We won't say anything to each other, but we'll both know that we both made it out of this.
Maybe Bruce did it intentionally.
Oh, so you're telling me he literally stalked Alfred just so he can...
Or he went every day.
Can you imagine going to the same cafe? It's like, shit, Alfred didn't come this time.
Yeah, I know.
Maybe next time he'll pass around.
He's Batman. He's probably been watching Batman.
How did you feel about Blake being Robin?
It was a nice little twist, similar to finding out Ducard was Ra's al Ghul. It was like, whatever. I mean, I like JGL. I love Joseph Gordon-Levitt, who played John Blake.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm okay with it. I didn't hate it, nor did I like it very much. It was just, fine. It was cool. Forgettable
One
moment.
scene that still bothers me to this day is the beginning, where literally the CIA lets hooded people. They don't check them or anything to see if they have any weapons. They let them into the plane just because, oh, they work for the masked man, the mercenary. Oh, Bane? Yeah, let them in. Please, let them in.
No,
Don't check them at all.
It led to a very cool scene, though.
Oh, yeah, it's a great scene. It's a great sequence, but it's just dumb as fuck.
It is, but...
Dumb as fuck. The other... I love the soundtrack, even though it's just mostly... yeah. But I really do like certain sequences in the movie. I don't hate this movie.
Yeah.
I like the part in the pit where he has to learn to be Batman again. Do I still find stupid that, oh, you have a broken vertebrae, boom!
Oh, yeah.
That's not how it works. That's not how any of this works. But somehow, he recuperates, he gets out of there, and we have a cool cameo from Liam Neeson as Ra's al Ghul.
I mean,
They found a young actor who looks a lot like Liam Neeson for the flashback sequences where you see,
There's a lot of good points to this movie. It's like there's the action sequences are usually as good as they have ever been. I mean, there's a beautiful shot towards the end where Bane and Batman, although they will never do it in the comics. Bane and Batman are fighting in broad daylight. That it looks awesome.
I think it's the only movie from the Batman series that you actually see Batman in broad daylight.
Exactly. It's never you don't do that. Batman wouldn't do that, but it still looks awesome. Yeah. Tom Hardy creates an awesome villain. Bane is really maniacal, very menacing, very cool. I liked his.
But you gotta agree that comeback from Batman was so lame. Where Bane comes down and says, "Oh, so you came back to die with your city? No, I can't stop you."
It's just a generic line that they probably didn't even think about.
No, yeah, that's that. I mean, but it's a pretty cool. It's again, each sequel has improved in the fighting sequences. Yeah. Even though I still think Batman's fighting technique is a little weird. Like it's mostly a lot of
brawler. Brawler,
yeah, a lot of pushing or moving around.
A lot of quick, blunt hits to knock them the fuck out.
Yeah.
It's not very flashy.
Notice how in each of the 3 films, the things that Batman has, what are they called? The
spikes.
The spikes.
Yeah.
They are always used to defeat the villain. In Batman Begins, Ra's al Ghul says, "Is like, you have anything new? How about this?" And he just breaks the fucking knife. Then the Dark Knight, the Joker has him, hold on, and he says,
launches it, right?
The Joker says, "Oh, I know how I got these scars." "No, but I know how you got these." And he just, and then in this one, he uses it again to take out the thing from Bane, the mask.
Really? Oh, interesting.
So
it's a theme.
And in each of those 3 films, whenever the villain dies, they always play the same theme. I can't hum it because of copyright notices I'm gonna get. Because you can't do not even a hum, and you'll get, "Oh, fuck you have a copyright notice now." But they always play the same theme just to show the hero is triumphant in each one. Just something that I noticed with the soundtrack by Hans Zimmer, which is really good.
Yeah. There's a lot of good moments in this movie. Like I said, the fight sequence in the middle in broad daylight. I love that moment when he's telling Jim Gordon, it's simple as letting the kid know that the world isn't over and putting a coat on his shoulders. Like, I love that. That's great.
Yeah, and somehow he remembers Bruce Wayne.
Yeah.
Bruce Wayne's the only person I put a coat over.
Yeah, I know.
But it's still
a good moment.
It's a good moment.
And then there's Michael Caine crying over the Wayne's graves.
He goes, "I failed you. I failed you." Yeah.
Which is, again, he's probably the best live action Alfred we've ever had.
Yeah, he's Michael not Caine's just amazing. A butler. He's actually a guy who literally, he raised fucking, Batman, Bruce Wayne. So
yeah, so it's a good movie, but it definitely has its problems and is by far the worst movie of the trilogy.
It's a faulty movie that it's viewable. You just have to forget about a lot of the plot holes. I think Christopher Nolan did a great movie, but it was a lazy closure. It felt like by this point Christopher Nolan wanted to explore other films. And they were just trying to wrap this up really quickly.
Just a lot of pressure from the last movie, and then the last hour.
Do you think the Joker would have appeared in this one had he been alive?
He's in the novelization.
Novelization?
Mm-hmm. Oh, okay. He's in the novelization. But the last hour is it's just there's just too much, and then they cut it all together to make this just the shit fest. So it's not that great a movie. It's okay. It's good. It's fun.
Yeah. Definitely, but I do think it's the weakest of the trilogy.
Definitely.
Whereas in the other mentioning of the first 2 films that they are on par, this one is really lower along the list.
No one's gonna fucking threaten you about that.
Oh, there's gonna be some Dark Knight Rises fan who's also gonna put the caps lock and going this, fuck you, movie master, I hate you.
But they have to agree, it's probably the worst movie in the trilogy, and that's not saying too much because the other two movies are great. So
yeah, the other two are great; they're masterpieces. This one is
just not as good.
No, it's
a
mashed potato pieces. That was a bad pun. Anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed this review of the Dark Knight trilogy. If you have any comments, questions, or suggestions, please leave it in the comments down below. And until next time.